GM.
Sunshine when she's gone, when she's gone.
Sing it.
That's true.
GM.
Yeah.
GM.
There's no sunshine when she's gone. Clouds around.
Does that mean the storm's coming?
No, it doesn't. But I
know.
Well, it is Friday. Friday.
Friday, as the kids say. What's going on?
Yesterday, when we came in the morning, there was panic around the world and markets, and we were just all hoping that things would calm down a bit. And they seem to so far, but Ukraine is still front of mind.
Yeah, markets have calmed down. Global conflicts have not. Still rough out there. Still seeing lots of news reports come in. Explosions and troops across Ukraine. People are rightfully, having a difficult time over there. Lots of people fleeing Ukraine, and rightfully so. Getting their families. I actually saw that they let out a statement or something that men between the ages of like 18 and 45, 55, something like that, are not allowed to leave the Ukraine right now.
Yeah.
So if that's any indication of where that situation is going, it's tough for sure.
The president of Ukraine put out one of the most impassioned and important speeches by a world leader I had ever seen.
Is that right? Yeah, I actually didn't. I didn't see that. I did not spend much of the day.
He made a plea to the people of Russia to examine what they know, what they think about what their media is showing them, and to reconsider. So.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, Rad saying 16 to 65. Yeah, I knew it was a big range. This is a time where propaganda machines on all sides of the equation start rolling, right? And that's not to say propaganda as in good or bad, but just the narrative that fits each side. So it's on us as people to try and widen the funnel of information that we're getting as much as possible to really try and get a good idea of what truly is going on there. But from the outside looking in, the scenes that you see are not good. So yeah, it's tough. We had some people in the Moon Lounge talk about either themselves or their families being affected by this. And honestly, I feel so much for them. It's 2022. We're on the tail end of a pandemic right now. And just seem to be like tail spinning into a war now, right? And that's
markets don't matter right now in relation to what the number in your portfolio says, but markets matter right now as the quickest dissemination of information that we have as human beings. For better or for worse, money is how news travels fastest. And I've talked about it for the last few weeks. I have been watching the S&P futures closely to get a gauge on what's going on, both in crypto and in the macro world. These things always lead what is coming. These things always predict what is coming. And as the market started to fall back in January, it was predicting these things that we're talking about now, whether it's high inflation or geopolitical risk. It's a forward-looking mechanism, and I believe that now it is looking forward and things are settling. While it seems very bad, if you could remove the news from it and just pay attention to markets in relation to how they are able to disseminate news almost quicker than the news itself. So I've been watching it very closely. We had a small recovery yesterday. It at least indicates things are somewhat calming down. Wow. Breaking news. Time to tell him just bought a lemonette and Hello Kitty lemon. Now, I will tell you.
Violin.
Yeah,
That
now
sounds promising.
I know.
Love
So
a good violin.
I don't even know how to begin to state what happened yesterday, but a very, very, very who man, if I had the ability to get her on the show, I would. But a singer with one of the most angelic voices I have ever had the grace of listening to, Mel APE, came on and kind of collaborated with the Lemonettes yesterday. I mean, Wen System, or B, one of our Lemonettes, had actually rewritten some of the lyrics to Katy Perry's Fireworks, because B had actually just bought her Lemonette and needed to audition for us. So instead of just hitting us with a verse of Fireworks like the rest of us did, she rewrote the songs and lemonified them. Came, performed them for us, of course, was an instant addition to the Lemonettes. And then Mela said, well, hey, I didn't get to hear FMC, Driz, and 13th audition. I think you guys should audition for me with the Katy Perry Fireworks lyrics that were lemonified. I said, sure, because she promised if we did that, she would sing a song for us. And while maybe sitting through the audition of Driz, FMC, and 13th was not what everyone wanted to hear, after Mela hit us with that song, boy, were the vibes nice. I mean, everyone should go follow Mela B Official. She's going places. This talent is going places. But congratulations, time to tell them you bought a Hello Kitty lemon. You still have to audition for the Lemonettes. I'll send you the lyrics. You just have to come on the Lemon Spaces later today or anytime this week. Hit us with a verse of Katy Perry. And
there you go.
Yeah, if you want to audition with your violin, that's also cool. We take all types.
Even better.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So.
Although I'm not in the band, so I have no say in this. Yeah. All right, you ready? You want to get into it? GM Degens, and welcome to the Friday edition of the AlphaMint Morning NFT Show. It is February 25th. I am your host, R2 Degen, and joined with me, as always, by Free Market Capitalist.
Hey now.
Hey now. Yes, as we were just saying in the show, still lots going on in the world. Still trying to break that down. Looking at it now, the markets have kind of recovered, settled down. Actually, I don't even know if they've settled down. They're still moving quite a bit, but definitely a highly volatile time as we watch for more news coming out of the situation in Ukraine. But NFTs also kind of had a short drop, and then a bit of a rebound yesterday too, as volume kind of came back into the marketplace. Coinbase also posted some really big news about their record-setting revenue and active users on the platform as well. So even though maybe towards the tail end of the year, in the beginning of this year, things kind of feel like they were low volume, the numbers sort of suggest otherwise. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. I'm seeing almost in real time, Sneaky is sweeping up the Three-Landers floor right now. He just spent about 22 ETH on Three-Landers. They're having a really great run post-reveal. We've got some Invisible Friends breakdown for you. Starcatchers is going to be moving up their reveal. We're going to be talking about what that means and whether you should be bullish or bearish on it. A lot of people in the chat always like to talk about Frogz, so those revealed. We'll look at those too. We've got some Loser Club mint details for you. Project that everybody's been talking about lately seems to have come out of nowhere and has no website, no Discord, and is just doing a stealth mint through Twitter. Howlerz. So we're gonna take a look at that and see where the substance is there. And then of course we're gonna be talking a little bit about Wonder Pals as well. And as always, reading the chat and following along with you guys too. Free Market, how was your Thursday?
My Thursday was serious, I would say. I just think that with everything going on and the gravity of what's happening, it was a very heavy day. It's hard to degen with the stuff that's going on right now. We take a lot of stuff for granted, right? And as much as I try to get into the headspace and distract myself with work, so to say, the real life situation keeps rearing its ugly head. So it was a heavy day. But it was also nice because I would say by 4 p.m. we had decided to just kind of open a space that we called lemon love vibes. And I know it's a little corny, but I think everyone was in such a weird mood yesterday. It was nice to just hang out and be stupid and not think about anything serious. And then, of course, Mela graced us with a practical concert yesterday. So I had a nice day. It was heavy, but it was nice by the end. We came together and tried to make something of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the most impressive things to me, watching the DGen Dojo, some of these other communities, you guys up on stage with the spaces, even just within here. I mean, there was a real sense of like this like borderless family that we've got going on here, right? People really looking out for each other, wishing everybody the best, wishing their families the best, looking at means of, support and how to help people out. I saw as many things as like, people knowing which routes were safe out of Ukraine into Poland and helping people that were actually in Ukraine looking to get out, which is just absolutely incredible, right? And it just, it just goes to show that these bonds and these friendships and stuff that you're making over NFTs and while it's fun to degen and make some money, they really do kind of just transcend the NFT market space. And that's one of the reasons why we talk about, NFT communities being strong and what to look for in like a particular project's community. Overall, the overarching NFT community really does look out for one another. And you really do in a time like this realize how small and tight knit it is. It's like being, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, you really do understand just like this is just, we're still in its infancy. We're all in the same world working together for the same cause. So really, at least in that regard, incredible to watch. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the crypto markets. Yesterday, it was like red across the board, looking really bad. As we mentioned in the pre-show, things have definitely bounced back. Bitcoin up 10%, approaching that 40,000 mark. It has not breached it yet, but that will be an important milestone for it. ETH bounced back to 2,700. We were saying on the show yesterday, 2,200 was a resistance line or a support level that you did not want to break underneath. We are putting some distance in between that, up 12.1% in the last 24 hours as well. And we're really putting in some work on erasing that red that has been accumulated over the last week or so. Have you spent any time looking at these charts? Is there anything that you can actually do with it? Or is it just so macro and news driven right now? It really does just depend on where things kind of go from here.
So yesterday we came in and traditional indexes had gapped down over 2% into the morning. There was panic. The night before I had seen multiple spaces and the FinTwit doesn't hold spaces as much as NFT. NFT people are crazy. FinTwit holds spaces now and again. And I even tweeted one out. It said, is the S&P going to crash tomorrow? All right. And I have told you guys time and time again that when sentiment and indicators get to the point where serious people are actually saying, is something going to crash or are we going to zero? We're usually much closer to a bottom than not. When I saw the structure of the chart yesterday and the type of gap down we had, and again, this is why it's important to watch S&Ps right now, because S&Ps were right near critical uptrend support. They gapped down below it. And I said, this is not going to close here. This is going to get back above that trend line. And it didn't just get back above that trend line. It was one of the most monster reversal candles I have ever seen. Today, we are following through and we are up. And I've said it multiple times. I think the market is priced in everything we're looking at right now. And that doesn't mean surprises can't happen. And that doesn't mean bad things aren't going on in the world right now. It means, given what we've seen so far and given what I've been watching, I think markets have priced in everything we've seen so far. If something else bad happens, something else unexpected. I even said that earlier in the week. I didn't know Putin was going to bomb Ukraine. And I was very closely watching that 2,700 support. We blew right underneath it. All right. We talked about having to reassess if that happened, but it was macro news driven. It wasn't a technical breakdown, and those things tend to retrace as hard as they fall. So looking at the market yesterday and seeing that rebound, it obviously started to spill into crypto. Even NFTs, which had a rare moment of crypto falling a lot and NFT floors down an easy 50% across. So I don't care what collection you were looking at. There was almost no the only collection I saw that wasn't down was Ether Orcs. Everything else I watched was down 50%. Everything popular, everything not popular, down 50%. Rare. But today, everything's bouncing back. Not all the way, but everything's bouncing back. Now, yesterday, when everything looked like we were going to crash, and I said we'd be green by the end of the day and rally today, I also cautioned the weekend's going to be tough. Let's say we close on the absolute highs today. That's actually the best thing that could happen. I was saying last week about the worst thing that could happen would be closed on the absolute lows. We bounced just off of them. We didn't know the macro was going to happen. Now, we want to see us, best case scenario, close on the absolute highs at the end of the day. If we don't, I do think it's setting up a scary weekend. We know Putin's playbook, or even just a war playbook, as the week ends and people feel relaxed, this is when they would push something. This is when they would make you uncomfortable, the feeling that you can't sleep, the feeling that you can't relax. I'm wary going into the weekend. We've rallied right back to what was previous support. We haven't gotten above it. Okay, so in no means does this mean we're out of the woods. But I'm trying to show you, when you sense extremes, those moments when you feel like it's all over, every time in my career has been the time to buy. And the day that it's not, we're probably going to have much more to worry about than our portfolio. So,
well, yeah, no, and that's incredibly true. We talked about this in real time yesterday, watching that big red slide down and saying, this is almost peak panic, and your inclination is telling you, get out of this. This is going to get really nasty. And lo and behold, we look at the charts, it bounced the other way. But I do wholeheartedly agree with you when you say, if this gets substantially worse from like an actual numbers on the screen standpoint, it's likely because the situation in the world has gotten substantially worse, and therefore the numbers on the screen matter less and less and less, right? And it kind of feels like we're in that dilemma right now. My question for you right now would be, with the markets closing, at 4:30 this afternoon.
Yeah.
Things obviously there's an after hours trading market for traditional stocks and whatnot, but crypto being 24/7, we're going to go in through the weekend, and crypto is going to do its own thing independent of what the stock market does. Do you think that because they're in a way sort of tethered right now, that whatever happens in crypto is going to be a good indication of how the markets are going to open on Monday?
Absolutely. That's the thing. Macro is leading crypto, but because of that, once the markets close, crypto will be our best gauge this weekend. I mean, you will see everything reflected in Bitcoin and ETH. So yes, 100%. I mean, here's the thing. I'm watching a few scenarios today. Okay, so the two things are, we either close on the highs or don't. Worst case scenario is a bad reversal, so to say, where we actually turn. And we could go slightly red today. If we put in what's called a doji, where we came off the highs and turned slightly red, but didn't start giving back all the progress we made yesterday, that's fine. That's not a bearish setup into Monday. But let's see. I could very much, again, we're just banging up against what used to be support and now made it resistance. So unless nothing happens, and again, let's talk about this scenario. If we go into the weekend, we either don't give back all our gains today or close on the highs, and nothing worse happens in Ukraine, I actually believe Monday we are going to rip tits. I mean, I could see ETH getting to 3,200. I could see markets getting right back to where they collapsed down, which would basically be the peak of the right shoulder. If you're looking, there's a giant. Here's where, if we are just a technical analyst and removing all the macro, there is a giant head and shoulders on traditional indexes, a giant one. Were we to break below the neck, and we broke below the neckline yesterday. That's why I said I really do. no matter what, you usually have to break through those things once, twice, or three times before you actually go through. And yesterday was our first real push through the neckline. We bounced back up. If we lose that neckline with any type of velocity, we're going much lower. We could see 30% lower on March. It would be a crash. The people who would be calling for it would be absolutely right. We don't want to lose that neckline. So there it is. We're going into the weekend. As long as we don't get a very bearish close, it's all going to be based on macro. We're going to see what happens. If Putin somehow doesn't get any friskier, I could see Monday a huge rally. But Monday is the last day of the month. Markets also have the underlying mechanics of how the players reposition themselves for the month and the quarter ahead. So month-end markups is a real thing. Like I said, if we don't get any type of bearish macro action over the weekend, the fact that we have month-end markups on Monday as well could really have one hell of a rally. We'd still have to be cautious. I mean, again, until we really get signs out of the Ukraine that there is some sort of agreement or peace or backing down, we are going to be very subject to volatility like this. So it's very hard to just look at it at the chart in a technical sense and glean anything of what's really going to happen. We still have too many unknowns out there. But, like I said, it's setting up like there's a very bullish reversal about to happen. It's just
we just need good news coming out to fortify it.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Some other news. Last week and the week before, we kind of touched on, Canada not being overly friendly towards bank accounts and crypto. I saw a news article last week that I didn't end up bringing up, but I guess a couple of tweets from Brian Armstrong and the CEO, I think it was of not Kraken. Yeah, it was Kraken. Sorry, Jesse Powell, were flagged and sent to the RCMP as issues. A little bit more information on that was basically saying that Canada is not a fan of people putting their crypto on self-custodial wallets, which is a big, huge misstep. Actually kind of nice to see Brian Armstrong and Jesse Powell come out and say, like, despite the fact that they have these crypto exchanges and you can, keep your crypto in their custody on the exchanges. And I think Coinbase and Kraken are probably two of the definite safer ones, but always do pose a risk. They did go out and publicly say, get a ledger, get a Trezor, a separate wallet and store your stuff there. Right. And I like seeing this from CEOs like that because, obviously crypto being on exchanges reduces the friction of you being able to trade it. And that helps their volume and, their revenue, their underlying profits, blah, 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 blah. But it does also go to show that they really do truly understand and get what crypto is all about. And, them going out and saying this publicly shouldn't be anything that's alarming to anyone. And yet here we are talking about Canada not being a fan of that. So it's being close to home, an interesting turn of events all the time with this situation, despite the fact that the state of emergency that Trudeau had implemented is now over.
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, you would be much more. You would be much better to speak on the internal politics of Canada. I've tried to talk with you in our DMs about this. Like, who is it? Like, who? If it were America, like we would say like, oh, it's this faction of Republicans or it's this extreme faction of Democrats that's pushing a narrative that's been taken over. So trying to understand like who, and you've said you feel like this is the Trudeau government, overreaching here. This is some.
It's so hard to actually dissect it again because the sources of news are so very polarizing, and it's really hard to take either side's assessment of it at face value. Obviously,
Fox News, not Fox News, but do you have like a conservative versus liberal news sources up there the same way we do?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, like like a CBC will be more on the liberal side, but it's also
Uh-huh.
government funded, so you'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
There are other things at play there as well. But at its core, I mean, you are talking liberals and Republicans. In our instance, it's liberals and conservatives, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Those are the parties of what they're
Yes.
called.
Yeah.
We have more parties kind of in the mix. We have the NDP, we have the Bloc de Québécois, we have a whole bunch of other stuff that are in play. So right now, Canada has a liberal minority government.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the conservatives are saying that this is a massive overreach in power. The liberals are saying, well, the truckers had no right to be there. They needed to do it. I think the biggest criticism internationally was that the full extent of the law leading up to the Emergency Act being invoked wasn't used. So they didn't exercise all of their options and then use that as a last case scenario. And I think that was the biggest um, kind of black mark on their decision to do so.
Mm.
But they have actively been going after a lot of crypto related stuff too.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough
Yeah.
sitting in the middle of it. I try not to take super strong political stances one way or another.
Yeah,
But
I honestly feel the same way here. I mean, I used to be more political when I was younger. I really try to be more of a pragmatist, especially, the farther you zoom out, I believe, with politics, the more kind of, I don't know if it's the right word, but the more libertarian you have to be. As you zoom in and you're talking about people close to you in your
mhm.
life, local, town government, and I think it should be as liberal as possible. I mean, bordering on socialism. That with the closer you go to home, the more it should be like that. The further you zoom out, as we get into state government and national government, I believe you have to lean. You have to lean more libertarian, or you have to lean to be more laissez-faire, because as you zoom out, it's just harder to apply policies that work for the majority of people. It becomes more difficult and more difficult. So I would just view not taking sides for either party or either stance or whatever, but I try to look at the pragmatism here and see, what's going on. How do we help the largest amount of the population from the level we're at without damaging things, without because regulation is always double sided. As much as it tries to help, it always hampers as well. So it's just about, is it worth it? And I mean,
Yeah, you know what? This is one of the fascinating things, and not to dig too deep into actual politics because that's not where I'm going with this. But my time spent in the States, you go and you start talking to people. Somebody's driving an Uber for you, and you start talking to them, and they pick up on the Canadian accent right away, and they're like, "Oh, yeah." So you start talking, you start getting to know them a little bit. And one of the things that happens in America that doesn't really happen as much in Canada. Now, that's not to say it doesn't, but people there often have stories in which they bounce around from state to state to state. Oh yeah, I spent some time in Colorado. I spent some time in Nevada. I moved out to the East Coast in Massachusetts, like stuff like that, right? You really see like a lot of people moving around. And one of the things I find fascinating and I actually really like about the States is that each individual state does actually have a lot of control over how it's managed and governed. And within the continental United States, well, not even continental, within the United States, you can find a specific state that matches up with your ideology and how you like to live and how you feel about things. We saw it during the pandemic. We saw a state like New York and a state like Florida take completely polar opposite views on how they're going to manage the pandemic. And that's not to say that one or the other was right or wrong, but it did give people that felt like they didn't, I don't agree with what my state's doing, I'm going to Florida. I don't agree with what Florida's doing, I'm going to New York. There's so much choice in there. You know what I mean? And I actually really like that you can do that on a state to state basis.
It's so interesting you say that from a foreign, like from another country, because I swear people in the United States say that all the time and they will get lambasted. Like, how you don't know anyone's situation. How dare you say they can just pick up and move? And of course, look.
Yeah, sure. You can't always do that, right?
Right,
Like I'm in a situation where I can't pick up and move from Canada. That's just the fact of my reality. But
But what you're saying is absolutely true. This is, I don't want to get too God bless the USA and all that. Something I just love about this country is how much rights individual states do have. And it does create, like R2 said, it creates a situation where and this is an extreme one, right? There was a time where the only place that cannabis was legal, fully legal, was Colorado. We're not even California. It was just medical there. And there are quite a few diseases in which young children actually benefit from using cannabis. But this is a very, very controversial topic, obviously, because getting a child high, having a child have access to cannabis is an automatic, child protective services case in any state. Doesn't matter what the situation is or what. The only place at the time, parents and we're talking about kids with deadly seizure disease, things that could actually kill them and really needed access to this medicine. They couldn't do it. They had to literally pick up and move their entire family.
Or break the law.
Or break the law and risk losing their child.
Yeah.
And it's a very extreme example, but that one always touched me back.
That choice is incredibly important, and dissenting and opposing views are incredibly important for balance and choice, right? Like it shouldn't be like I want free choice and everyone should have their own opinion unless you disagree with me and therefore you're wrong, right? Like so it's just really important. But this going back to it is like just the importance of crypto in these situations as well. Going into that, we have Ukraine. The Ukraine military group receives over $400,000 in Bitcoin donations in one day. People showing their support for the Ukraine army and the citizens within Ukraine affected by this. Again, the power of crypto, kind of going back to my initial article about Canada, is this ability to support the causes that you want to in a borderless way. This was never possible years ago, where you had to do international wire transfers. They get held up at banks. People somewhere along the way don't want your money getting there and they freeze it or whatever, right? This, in one day, people from around the world were able to donate over $400,000 in Bitcoin to this cause. We also have an article about the Pussy Riot founder, Trippy Labs, and Pleaser DAO member launch UkraineDAO. So they're starting to launch an NFT to fund support causes in Ukraine, help citizens that are affected by it and uprooted by it. And they're going to be launching an NFT. I got to believe that there's going to be a lot of support for something like this too. Go ahead.
If I could tell you, I honestly believe Pussy Riot is one of the most important artists of a generation. I find them to be absolutely important as a voice and as artists. Just beyond, I don't think people understand when you talk about punk rock or rock and roll, it's supposed to be edgy, right? It's supposed to be dangerous. When these guys perform, when they say the things they say in Russia, they're taking a risk on their lives, their families' lives. This is art in a way I don't think people.
Being outspoken about a government like that does put you in a perilous situation at times, and so the importance of people being able to be out there and speak and do this and raise money is also very key too, right? So, again, I just this is one of the reasons why I'm pretty much a perma bull on crypto for the long run, because this is creating a new dynamic that just would not have been possible had this happened 10 years ago. In fact, we have seen it happen 10 years ago. The ability to mobilize support and funds and resources in that way is just second to none at this point. And it's great to see it being used for causes like this, because that's at the very, very core of it. That's what it's all about, is the financial freedom to do what you want with your money. Easily
the most important artists of our generation. I would love to own their. They even released a new NFT collection at ETH Denver this year, and their stuff moons. God, I love Pussy Riot. It really is. I can't say enough things.
Yeah, for sure. On a little bit lighter of a note, Elon Musk's brother says Tesla was ignorant of environmental concerns when it bought Bitcoin. This is Kimbal Musk at ETH Denver saying that the car company was unaware of Bitcoin's high energy consumption when it adopted the cryptocurrency last year. This is funny for a couple reasons. One, this is public infighting. Kimbal Musk is on the board of Tesla and SpaceX, obviously the brother on Musk. We were joking about it in the pre-show. I would hope that he gave his brother the courtesy call that he was going to be publicly talking some ish at ETH Denver about it. I'm sure that they know. But yeah, I mean, the other funny narrative behind this is that I call absolute pure bullshit on the fact that a company like Tesla putting up $1.5 billion Bitcoin purchase on their balance sheet was unaware of Bitcoin's high energy consumption. That to me is just like, come on, really? Like you guys are this forward thinking clean energy car company that's trying to change the world and change how people commute all over the world, and then you're going to go and put Bitcoin on your balance sheet. But oops, I didn't realize that the process of Bitcoin's existence relies on proof of work and incredible amounts of energy consumption, which by the way are still fractional compared to a lot of other industries' energy uses. But yeah, here we are. I just call bullshit on that, honestly.
Right. The way that the quote is phrased, I'm not sure that he was criticizing his brother or whether he was defending him. And like, did the interviewer say, "So, are you concerned with da-da-da?" He could have been answering, "Oh, well, we were kind of ignorant," or Elon was ignorant of the environmental impacts of Bitcoin when he did that. That's why he had his response afterwards. It doesn't sound like he's criticizing his brother to me. Did you listen to the clip? I'm not sure.
I didn't listen to the clip, but I read the article. Yeah, it just said Tesla board member and brother of Elon Musk admitted that the company was very ignorant of Bitcoin's high carbon footprint when it bought $1.5 billion in Bitcoin.
Yeah, he's apologizing for Tesla, not criticizing Tesla that's what they did. Yeah. No,
he went on to later say that they probably got literally, or I'm not kidding, probably 1 million messages complaining about the company's Bitcoin plans, which is doing that you're still early kind of thing.
Right. I think this is it's unfortunate they have to defend this narrative. I think it's largely nonsense what this environmental impact narrative, as technology, especially like blockchain that moves us forward, has a net positive on the world and on our carbon footprint as we go along.
Well,
yes, go ahead.
Not to cancel ourselves, but the YouTube network, in the process of viewing videos on YouTube, has a larger carbon footprint than Bitcoin does, right? Like, and people use YouTube every single day. There's people aren't getting shamed for, watching YouTube and powering up their cell phones from the electrical outlet to do so, et cetera, right?
Yeah, no, I've never understood the idea of slowing down technological progress to solve something that's a technological issue. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, 100%. It's not like we could have gone from, steam engines and burning wood and coal straight to solar energy, right? Like, you have to take those intermediate steps to even solve the problems.
And that's the thing. We are using more electricity, and that's largely an effect of population growth. We're becoming more efficient. Every minute we become more efficient. Technology, there's a financial incentive to become more efficient. If there were only
I love that you said that, because that's the biggest argument I use when people say like, "Oh, it's so energy inefficient." I said, yeah, but it actually moves more efficient energy usage forward because miners are using this. They're using it to profit.
Right.
And the only thing that's going to create larger profit margins there for them is abundant, cheap energy.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can drive that down, then you make more money. So yeah, by and large, it is actually encouraging the use of more efficient renewable resources rather than, pollutants. So,
but I say this all the time. It's that people don't believe facts; they believe stories. All right, and Tesla knows this. Okay, and Tesla can't go out there and just list a bunch of facts and tell you why Bitcoin isn't in, but they have to play this game. I mean, they have to play the PR game. So what you're seeing right now is them trying to move things forward with a story instead of just hitting people with facts, because that wouldn't work. The media is doing so well here because they've crafted a story that makes sense to the people who watch media. Tesla is now doing that, but it takes time to get there. The first thing you have to do is concede the point at large so that the people attacking you let down their defenses a bit. It's a little Machiavellian, and you got to really understand what's going on here from an inside baseball standpoint, but that's what's playing out in front of our eyes. And I mean, it just takes time to get there. Tesla can't instantly make it happen. Telling a story takes time. That's how the media has done it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, it was just a more of a funny story than anything, but he looks like they're quite the characters themselves. They know how to grab headlines and roll with it and stay relevant too.
I was in the Kimbal Musk world because of soil. He's very into renewable food and local and sustainable food. So he's very into soil and stuff. He started a company that I don't know if he started it. He funded and invested in a company that actually grows microgreens and certain other greens in containers, all in urban areas. They took shipping containers and filled it with grow lights and basil, and you go to any Whole Foods in the New York area or whatever, there's sustainably grown indoor basil and stuff, and a company funded by Kimbal Musk. So cool stuff. Sidebar. Moving on.
Coinbase posts record revenue user numbers in Q4 earnings surprise. Coinbase reported booming earnings for its last quarter, even as the broader crypto market has slumped. It blew away the expected revenue figures, and the stock went up, I think you said about 15% as a result.
I'm dabbing right now. You can't see it. And I don't mean dab. I mean doing the thing where the kids throw their arms in the air in a celebratory manner. not a drug dab. Yeah.
You could do either. I don't care. I'm over it. You could do whatever you want. But this is if you
John, we'll call you from now on. All right.
If you had any discouraging thoughts about the overall crypto market at large, this is at least maybe a reversal on that one. The revenue quarters, as I said, blew them out of the water. So people are trading, people are being active, and they are onboarding new users. Maybe I don't know if the Super Bowl would have fit into their Q4 earnings. Would that have made the cut?
What, their Q4? Yeah, that's what they just reported.
No. With the Super Bowl ad that they ran, would that?
No.
Yeah, okay. So I was going to say, like, obviously they had a big influx of people for that, so maybe even the Q1 of this year is going to outperform.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one of the biggest things that we see coming out of this is actually the almost 50% increase in ETH traded on Coinbase. So picking up some steam there. Bitcoin has dropped down dramatically, and ETH and Bitcoin are kind of in an arms race for the most traded asset on Coinbase right now. I gotta believe, by and large, due to NFTs and the volume that increase that it has seen over the past 6 months. So yeah, I mean, if you're feeling down about crypto and where it's going, just remember, I mean, there's still lots of new people coming into it. There's still lots of money flowing through the ecosystem. And we're, maybe just experiencing some seasonality.
Coinbase absolutely blew it out of the water here. Obviously a very good sign for crypto. I love watching these medium-term growth stories that debut on the market and people underestimate, because we're going through a period right now where and it's funny because it's a backdrop of macro and concerning things in the world, but really most of the pain in traditional markets right now are in tech stocks, or what they call Cathy stocks, that don't really have profit right now. It's all based on revenue models. Most of these companies aren't actually profitable yet. And when interest rates go up, those tend to be the companies that are first affected and affected most. Coinbase, while not quite thrown in, because they've obviously been making a healthy profit, this is a company that sells at a high valuation based on its potential. So this is one you will always have people going into quarters and going to like, oh my God, they can't beat, how are they going to outperform the last number? There's so much expectations. People are too bullish on Coinbase. Yet you see things like that. It reminds me of Apple, or it even reminds me of Facebook after Facebook, got its footing, because initially Facebook debuted, was a big thing, and then it actually started to crash because of the iPhone, because mobile was coming into such prominence. People stopped using desktop. So Facebook was going through this period where people weren't using desktop, but it didn't have a viable mobile product. Its mobile product sucked. People weren't using it on mobile.
And people believed that it wouldn't translate to mobile for some weird reason.
Oh, yeah.
In hindsight's 2020. But that's funny that was a narrative of like, this is never going to be a good iPhone app.
Oh, you should have seen how bearish people were on Facebook and its prospects. And it got to a point where people just believe it couldn't do no good. I think it got under IPO price very briefly there. And then they started to knock it out of the park with mobile, updated their app, and every quarter, the narrative they couldn't do mobile followed them for like 2 years. Like every quarter they would blow numbers out of the water and just continue to and people were like, wow, who expected that? Wow, Coinbase feels like it's in that moment. High valuation. People have a hard time wrapping their mind around how much growth this company is going to see. And it's just the type of one I expect surprises like this all the time. If you remember, Apple for the better part of 6 years just came out and walloped. I don't care how bullish the analysts got, they walloped those estimates. And you'd always get that rally. And Coinbase feels like it's in that place for me. Very bullish for crypto. Love Coinbase as a stock. Don't go buy anything up 15%. This is not a call to go buy Coinbase today. We don't buy things up 15% around here.
This makes me wonder too, though, because we all, for a point in time there, we were like, when Coinbase NFT marketplace, et cetera, and like it just hasn't happened. I wonder if this is like their own form of like roadmap and floor price management, right? Where they knew that these numbers were going to be incredibly bullish. It was going to have an amazing, impact on their stock, their share prices, their overall perception of this company in the greater market. And I wonder if maybe they just are holding the NFT marketplace kind of in their back pocket to pull out for the next time they need some really good bullish news, because I think we all can agree that it's going to do wonders for their revenue, right? Like it's just an added form of people transacting on their platform. And with all of the money locked up in either Coinbase wallets or just right on the Coinbase app coming online to participate in this NFT marketplace, I don't know how much it could go up, but I got to believe it's going to be a substantial driver for them. Floor price management, Coinbase, boom.
And they're definitely playing on expectation. We're all in the NFT market. We're analyzing these small teams, and something R2 and I are talking about all the time is how poorly they're managing expectations, how bad their PR is. You don't get that in Web 2. These are the largest companies in the world. They have it tattooed on their bellies. UPOD, under promise, over deliver. The people who are made CEO, that's their greatest skill. Their greatest skill is the ability to, because no one can predict business. Like you have a good idea of what your business is going to do. We all know if you run a business, shit happens. Sales disappear all of a sudden. Something unexpected goes on. This employee does it. You never know what's going to happen. You try to be forward looking as much as the analyst looking at your company. But an expert CEO, somebody in the traditional area, they are masters. You are seeing a master class in Coinbase. Watch these companies. Web3 could learn a lot from Web2 companies without becoming Web2. And UPOD, under promise, over deliver. I applaud Coinbase. That's what they're doing. All good publicly traded companies do this. Very bullish.
Yeah, for sure. That kind of wraps up the news segment-ish. I found this thread on Twitter about just some predictions about the Ape airdrop, and it's just kind of funny. This one kind of felt like it was head in the clouds, but people are very, very bullish on what Ape token means to it, and I gotta believe that we could see it released at any point. There was a lot of speculation that this was going to hinge around the Super Bowl. Obviously, that came and went to no avail. But it does kind of loom over the NFT market, and the speculation on this one was they have the value of the airdrop to each Bored Ape and Mutant Ape. The speculation on if they're going to deliver 30% or 50% of the total supply to the holders. This also assumes that each Bored Ape gets two ape token for every one that Mutant Apes gets. And then he broke it down by fully diluted value. Now, here's where it gets a little bit iffy. It's basically saying at a $3 billion fully diluted valuation, they're expecting $60,000 to $100,000 being airdropped to a Bored Ape holder and $15,000 to $25,000. I think that this is maybe getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves. It's one of those expectations where I think that it's almost impossible to meet it properly. They have to, and I do believe that the team has thought about this enough and talented enough to make it happen, but they have to have burn mechanisms. They have to have an ecosystem in which Ape token provides this kind of value. I do believe that the overarching, Yuga Labs and the Bored Apes and the Mutant Apes and everything to do with that ecosystem is incredibly valuable. I do think Yuga Labs could easily be priced at $5 billion. I think that they're a very, very important entity, and I think they will continue to be. But I don't think that Ape token is going to necessarily be reflective of that. And I think that it's crazy to believe that this is at least going to debut at these kind of valuations. But maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before in the past, and the power of the Bored Ape community always never ceases to amaze me. So I don't know. This is, by the way, this is just some random person putting numbers on a page to, maybe even just engagement farm on Twitter. But it does raise up that question, and we forget Ape token is probably here sooner than later.
I would have definitely, and I've even made quite a few tweets about this, expected this to be a sell the news situation. I mean, just look at Cool Cats, okay? And maybe had they executed their game perfectly, it wouldn't have been sell the news. But I've been talking about how we're going into a backdrop of bearish seasonality after one of the greatest runs NFTs had ever seen in early January. And there was a good chance that no matter what happened with Ape token, it was going to be a sell the news situation. I'd still lean towards that, but I'll tell you, this macro backdrop may be helping out Bored Ape Club a lot. It may be helping them out a yacht.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, there you go. Because they're now down 40 ETH off their highs. Okay, Bored Apes have been in the back seat. Even punks have seen more action. And out of favor would be the wrong word, but certainly not the talk of the town right now. This is not what everybody is focused on, are Bored Apes. So maybe the token could be the opposite. I think most Bored Apes are way too bullish on what the early prospects will be about Ape, but probably dead on about the long time. I mean, I don't know why in a proper market, like let's say we get into another good bull this summer, similar to the one we had last time, I see no reason why Ape wouldn't do what Banana did, right? Like, why wouldn't it at least provide that type of value to apes, given how much more popular they are than Kongs? I mean, Kongs are making $500 a day. I know it's like, it's not, big brain math to do that, but I would just figure out what $500 a day an Ape token is and assume it's going to get there at some, like that's what it's going to get to. It's a 500 or $1,000 somewhere in there. And I don't know how long it'll last, but look, depending.
Do you think that this is going to be a slow drip? Like the apes are staked for tokens, or do you think they're just going to be like?
I don't think they'd make them stake. I don't.
No, you just get them. I figured it was going to be just get it up front, and here you are.
I think it's funny. I think a collection like this doesn't need staking by any means. The culture has staked them.
Hey, the most powerful mechanism of staking is like the inability for people to want to actually leave the community. You don't need to stake them in a contract to do so. People are staked in Discord.
I mean, it really is almost a lockup, right? It's basically like invest in us, lock it up for X time. And it's not even a lockup where you got to leave it there a certain amount. You can take it out anytime you want. It's just that small idea of, well, I got to spend money to go back and forth. So I'd better think 2, 3, or 4 times about what I'm doing here. And most of the time we decide, I'll just leave it. Because if I spend the money and I'm wrong, I spent money on being wrong. It wasn't even free to be wrong. Like, that's the psychological thing. going on in our head. So we will see. I mean, I think I'm very bullish on Bored Apes and Ape Token going into not that we'd have to wait that long, but going into the rest of this year, I'm very bullish. Short term, right now, I'm just cautious given I've been here for 3 years. I know that we tend to get pretty bearish into April, through March and into April. So we'll see. Thing is, I think macro has taken a lot of the air out of that balloon. There's a very good chance by the time we hit that bearish seasonality window, all the sellers are gone anyway. I mean, people were papering the other night. People asked me, they were like, well, how are you buying? I had some good friends DM me telling me they sold the bottom during literal paper handed the bottom during Ukraine. They feel bad. Why was I buying? They wanted to know. Well, I mean, I've talked about it. All right. This is yeah.
There was blood in the streets. That's actually a really bad analogy right now. Sorry.
Yeah, but it is a
Warren Buffett quote, right?
It's a bad analogy, but it is a Buffett quote. I don't think you mean that.
There's no.
But it's true. When there's panic is when you buy, and when you feel like you should sell is usually when you should buy. And when you feel like you should buy more and it can't ever go down, it's usually when you should sell. Best to not try to time the top, get out a little early, and then wait for periods like we just had. It always happens. It always happens. You just I think there were some very smart people in the DGen dojo who a few weeks ago, even as things were frothy, and even as they probably accepted they're going to be leaving some gains on the table by going liquid, well, I bet over the last couple of days, they have been making bank, and they have been getting in there and setting themselves up for the greatest run of their lives, a portfolio multiplier going into the summer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to watch this go down. I would love to see Bored Apes implement, like, if they're going to do another kind of companion drop or another collection or something to actually use those ape tokens to actually mint them. Just things like that, right? Like once you release this token out into the wild, really kind of powering your entire ecosystem off of it, whether that's merch sales, right? Like using ape token to buy off their website to buy merch for their parties. Hell, like at the parties, buying drinks and stuff like that. How cool would that be? I don't have the technical knowledge to know how feasible all of that is. But again, if you want to continue to deliver value on what this ape token is, I really do think that their entire existence has to be surrounding this ape token, and everything that you do in regards to Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, Bored Ape Kennel Club, and everything Yuga Labs needs to be used using this token.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, what's interesting to me is I don't think a game is going to be their burn. I mean, and anything you introduce burn mechanisms in a tokenomics sense is a game because it's gamified. I just meant I don't think it's going to be a P2E they're releasing, and that's usually the most effective way to burn tokens. So we're going to see. They've been having this conversation for 6 months. They have Gyosiri on their side. They're the most powerful brand in our industry. I expect them to execute.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch it go down too. I mean, I don't know that we have any idea of when it's happening, but like we said, it's got to be soon. There's enough smoke there, I think.
Someone turned the MF offer bot on again. Jesus, I just keep getting spammed all more. It's funny because I don't know if you saw MFers fell to under 3 briefly. They were at like 2.6.
Unbelievable.
I know. Well, from 6.5 to 2 points, and now they're back at 4 ETH this morning. I mean, it's just wild. If you watched MFers all the time and you tried to trade around that, boy, you could be making some bank. I mean, because it's obvious to me these are going to 10E, and I'm watching people pay. I was like, guys, well, what can you do? Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there was a lot of mints going on this weekend. You just got to figure out what can do better in the meantime. But it's not for the faint of heart trading in this kind of market, because you watch these things just go to. We had people in the DGen dojo being like, "Oh my god, I sold these at 0.2. What was I thinking?" And obviously, that's very hindsight. It's up to you and whether or not you have conviction in something or whether it means something. But when you get up to the 4 or 5 ETH, like that's a lot of capital that can be deployed into all of these mints too. And some of them have done very, very well in the meantime. Although buying off secondary hasn't been super successful right now.
I was chatting with a young king in the spaces the other day, and I won't mention his name, but he came up and he was insisting to me that they're called moffers.
Oh, yeah. That
He
doesn't
kept
make
saying,
any sense at all.
like, first, he was talking about this project for 5 minutes. No one knew what he was talking about remotely. And I was like, moffers, right? And then once we realized what he was saying, and I called him out and said, no, it's MFers. He was so insistent. Like, what are you talking? No, it's not. It's Moffer. He dug he died on that hill. It's Moffer. And I even
okay. Let me just bring up Zug.
Okay. All right. Calm down there.
Do we need to have this conversation?
You know,
that was a hill you almost died on, my friend.
Community spaces for orcs. So for orcs, and I don't know what that means. I'm just saying it. Tune in next week for our orcs community spaces.
For those that don't know, Free Market used to call Zug. He was adamant that that's how it was pronounced. I laugh as I drink out of my coffee moog. And we had a spaces with the team. We were interviewing the team. I put them on the spot and said, "How do you pronounce it?" And they very adamantly said, "It is Zug." There's no questions about it. There's no
spaces with 300 people. You don't ask the team while we're hanging out in a pre-meeting. You ask them with 300 people. It's all right.
Yeah, well, you were getting rugged by Twitter Spaces too.
Rugged by Twitter Spaces, rugged by Orc Gods, rugged by life. Thank you, FMC, for the win.
Yeah,
Freelanders. Shit,
you're a good sport for the content there. Let's talk Freelanders.
Let's talk Freelanders, because holy shit, do I have to shout out the homie Driz. These are mooning fierce this morning. He has absolutely killed it with these. And I'll tell you, yesterday, some of the best traders in our DGen dojo started coming in, and this is before they had kind of made their little move yesterday, and they were like, I need to buy some Freelanders. Like, I was hearing all around the different alpha rooms, Freelanders, Doodles moving in big into the Freelanders. The Doodle, I think the Doodles had another project they were loving that was not going so well, so they decided to kind of hop on over to the Freelanders trade, and that is doing amazing. What do you think, R2?
Yeah, I mean, I still have some mixed feelings about the art, but again, I mean, people are loving it, and that really is, at the end of the day, all that matters. Big congrats to anybody that's held on for this long or even bought lower. I think we were talking about it on the show, and it was dipping around 1 ETH, so still quite a big purchase to get in on. But in the time that the show has been live, it's gone from about a 1.8 floor to a 2.1 floor. So congratulations on reaching that 2 ETH floor. It took Cool Man's 2 months to do so, and these things are absolutely ripping. I gotta say, like, the more I look at them, if there's one thing that I can definitively say about it, is they are clean as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, the line work is actually quite good. Some of the color choices I'm not a huge fan of, but
don't fud the bags. Let's keep it. I'm just don't fud the bags.
Well, no, we said it on the show the other day. I'm not fudding it at all. It's my own personal feeling towards it, but I mean, the line work is just incredibly clean. And actually, there's I guess a pretty good story behind it too. This is an artist that has been, drawing these little doodles and has had these characters for I guess a large portion of his life, and it's finally kind of becoming a reality of making some serious money off of it. So I mean, I can't really take that away from anybody either.
And this is what I'm saying about this year. It's the year of known artists. I mean, we're used to crypto teams getting artists. We're used to these smaller projects coming out. This year, you're just seeing known artist after known artist lay down the heat. And I mean, I would be worried if I was not worried. I mean, I know there's a lot of historic projects and all this stuff, but when you look at the class of artists now coming into NFT, I am so excited about the stuff coming out later this year. Like, don't ever FOMO. Don't ever get worried. Now, I'd say that if you weren't buying these at 0.7 the other day when Chris was telling you were a little out of pocket, I'll say that. But at the same time, I will tell you that I think with all the projects coming down the pike here, there's so much to look forward to. A lot of great stuff coming. So yeah, Freelanders, amazing trade. Watching them here, I really think they're going much higher. These just feel like they have that momentum now, and it could pull like 5-6 ETH over the next week or two. So yeah, Freelanders, good stuff.
You think it can get up to 5 or 6 ETH, eh?
I do. When I saw the alpha rooms starting to participate in a certain, well, I was like, oh, these are that thing. Okay, they're going to be that thing now. Yeah, happens that way.
I mean, the volume on it is absolutely incredible.
Random shout out to the lemon spaces. I'm saying that for no reason, but there you go.
Yeah, for sure. Freelanders killing it. I kind of looked at like what the roadmap was too, and it was pretty vague, which we've often been in support of now as well. Like mint out, get them into the hands of your community members, start to form that community around it, and they're doing a really good job of that. So yeah, two ETH, and who knows where that ends up going. Another project that was really kind of struggling to get going now is Dented Fields. They had an issue with their contract. Their Discord was hacked. Some people minted from the false contract. They had the looping issue with the pre-sale on their contract, so they had to pause it. Their solution, if I recall, or if I understand correctly, is that they have just ended up minting all of them. So it does say that there's the full supply there. They are set up in a contract where if you are on the allow list, you can pay and it will send you the minted NFT. So these are still in pre-reveal, but they're struggling along. The supply was 11,111 of these. The mint price was 0.11, and we are sitting right around mint price on the floor too. And that often is, it's a tough mat to get off of. Right now you're creating the dilemma of, do you buy off secondary or do you mint these? And so this is a tough look for them.
Are they all mint? It's not minted out yet?
Well, no, according to their website, it's not. This was the promotional art that you showed me as well.
Right. All jokes aside, everybody, I want you to look at this. All right. With all the stuff that's been going around in our industry, you see this image pop into. What does this say to you? What is this image expressing to the public here? I don't know. I feel like I don't even think I'm going to make that joke on the air, but I don't know. So visualize a cash grab for me in art.
Is it going into or out of the wallet here?
All your money's flying out of the wallet into these fucking dented fields. Like, who thought this was going to be a good?
This guy doesn't look particularly happy with what's going on either.
The guy, guys, you just, all these teams just need a PR organization. They're helping. Like you said, man, I don't know if they're minted out or not, because you said 11,000, right? It looks like there's 11,000.
No. So yeah, like I said, because they had the issue with the contract being able to be looped, they had to pause that. They minted all of the remaining ones, put it into a separate contract or a separate transaction. And so if you are now minting them, you are interacting with that one to get the NFT out of it. So technically they all have been minted. According to their website, 8,370 of them have been minted. So there is still some to be pulled out of that wallet.
I would say all of the multiple projects using Denton's art were really missing it on the PR point yesterday. I would say there are multiple projects using the same art that are just not having a great time in markets. I don't care about either project in the sense that I think there's so much great out there that if you don't want to support, and there's nothing wrong with supporting either of these projects if you think you want to support them. I don't care either way. I just think there's a lot of great stuff going on out there that I don't want to be involved with either personally. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Speaking of weather report, they took to Twitter about 24 hours ago, so we were already in the midst of the Ukraine news and whatnot. They posted the storm is upon us, and this promo video, birds flying, sun's out in California. Not a bad looking promotional video, but I guess some people were kind of saying read the room, especially as they kind of hinted at Toby Lasso's military background and what it means to be, in that situation and having to go to war. They later posted an announcement saying that in respect to the situation that's happening in Ukraine, that they would be delaying the mint for 24 hours just to kind of let things, cool down and let people kind of, manage the situation for themselves and whatnot. But they are going to be minting today. But yeah, both of them kind of just missing the mark in this regard. And I suppose looking at it, I'm not super surprised. Weather Report was a team that kind of felt like they were out of pocket, as you would say. I don't know if I'm using that term properly, but yeah, they seem to have missed the mark many times, and Dented feels maybe rushing out their project to get to the finish line before the aforementioned Weather Report. So kind of a messy situation altogether.
Yeah, I don't think Weather Report was malicious here. I don't think they were trying to hurt anyone, and I don't think they were trying to be mean. I don't think that nor do I think any individual team members should be called out or reflected upon, period. I think that this was it was tone deaf for what was going on. It was a stark contrast to most other projects, whether the project is revealing or minting. I would say most projects put out a poll, whether it's Wonder Pals, which is minting, whether it's Starcatchers, which is revealing in the next few days, as to whether they should go forward or maybe postpone it a bit, just because given the times that are happening, things aren't going on. I'm happy that the Weather Report responded to this and then did take down what could be considered insensitive, though again, I don't think
they didn't take it down, but yeah.
Sorry, they wrote a thing and commented. Yeah.
I don't think they needed to take it down. I think they just didn't.
No, they were just using the branding they had been using the whole time. in no way do I think Weather Report.
Oh yeah, they weren't out shooting that video yesterday and realized, let's get this out. This was just part of their marketing.
No. It was, look, it was why we talk about all the time, why you need a PR team. Because as things unfold in the real world, you have to adapt your business to what's going. I gave a small example of the show Archer, one of my favorite shows out there. And there was an incident where the show started years before ISIS existed, but ISIS was the name of the secret organization that Archer worked for. Okay, so Archer and ISIS were, I think, around for at least 3 years until all of a sudden this terrorist organization sprang up with the same name. Now, it was no fault of the show writers or whatever when they conceived this. It had nothing to do with Islamic extremism. It was just a coincidence, but they ended up having to change the name. They worked it into the show, they did whatever, but it was just not something that you could continue to use given the light of current events. So you have to adjust, you have to adapt. It's why PR teams are important. I don't want to fault them and say that, I don't think anyone was doing anything on purpose here, and I'm happy that the Weather Report team responded. That they did the right thing in the end there in regards to that. So.
Yeah, I agree. But like you said, I'm staying away from both of these projects. I think they are still in a squabble with each other over the artwork, and OpenSea has been pretty trigger happy lately in terms of what they're delisting. Complete side note, I don't have anything pulled up for this, but yesterday at some point, Head DAO, Mutant Cats, and another DAO type project, NFT project, were all delisted simultaneously from OpenSea. They have since been put back. I don't know if maybe OpenSea wanted some kind of verification or did some diligence and whatnot, but there was a very, very brief period of time where holders of those projects were panicking because there was no warning given to why they were coming down. With that in mind, and what we saw happen with 888, and we saw with Squiggles and stuff like that. 888 is back up as well, by the way. But with Squiggles, who is not back up, I would be hesitant to be participating in these projects for the simple fact that OpenSea, just like that, could crush you. And that's not even actually a criticism on OpenSea. We have a lot of shit to talk with in regards to them, but they are a centralized company. They are looking to go public. They do have certain things in mind. And this kind of legal battle between two projects that are clearly using the same art is a dicey situation, especially because I don't think at this point, with the way things have gone down, that there's a clear-cut right and wrong case here.
Well, this is a very clear-cut case for me as an individual and a trader and an investor. I would never support Weather Report because of how they treated multiple artists, 100%. Not just Denton, multiple artists that they treated. And I would never support Denton Fields because of how they responded to what Weather Report did. Both are dead to me. I don't want anything to do with them. I did just want to comment on the controversy yesterday because they put out something that was tone deaf, but they responded. I commend them for that. I'm not here to drag anybody. They responded to it. Yesterday was a very emotional and hard day for everybody, myself included, everybody participating in everything. I don't want it to ruin relationships and friendships and people that I love. This is just, we have to take everything for what it is and just understand. I think regardless of what everyone's intentions are, this is what happened with both these projects. Neither of them have my support. I'd like to move on.
Fair. Mike Schrack also pointing out that Beanbag Friends, which we really, really briefly touched on the other day, got taken down by Sony. I did say that it had a striking resemblance to Sackboy of Little Big Planet. And yeah, that is a Sony product. And so, yeah, Beanbag Friends, they get taken down. Catbricks. Catbricks
had DCMA because of a Sony thing? I didn't see that. I heard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn. Yeah, remember I had that comparison to the game?
Right. Yes. I remember. Wow. And I'll tell you, man, it's happening a lot. You may be right about the whole weather report thing because OpenSea is not being slow to do these things.
Catbricks Clubhouse got taken down as well. Now that was a project that had all kinds of shit attached to it. They are making an honest go. The community is at reviving it, and I applaud them for it. But OpenSea did take them down on Lego's DMCA as well, so that actually did rear its ugly head. They are looking at redoing the entire project from the ground up. So see what comes out of that. But again, just going back to that original idea, OpenSea is not fucking around anymore. Like they are taking this stuff seriously. So I mean, it is what it is. JCV asking if we bought any Starcatchers or rating post reveal. Nervous that they might pump after reveal and your bags are light. I did mint mine. I do have some. And I did not buy any more off the secondary. There were a couple of brief dips into a threshold of which I would have been comfortable doing so. I was just not around for that time. Right now, they're sitting at about, let's refresh. Yeah, same thing, about 0.62 floor. And that's not quite where I want to be buying, but I certainly wouldn't be selling here either. They have announced that they are moving the reveal up sooner than expected. It was supposed to be Saturday, tomorrow at, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern, 7:30, somewhere in there. And it looks like they will be revealing at midnight this evening.
Woo!
So,
oh my God.
So weird.
I've never been so pumped. Well, I have.
Yeah. No.
Been a while.
This is weird. I mean, there was a lot of discussion in the DGen dojo about this. Some people were actually pretty bearish on the fact that they did this. I was trying to kind of wrap my head around why. This isn't a criticism of their opinion because, obviously you're entitled
I'll criticize their opinion. They're a bunch of idiots.
But no, I mean, it's funny to me that we go through these phases where delays are met with such anger. How could they? This project's dead, blah, blah, blah. I totally kind of understand it sometimes too, especially when you're looking at cool cats and cool pets and how they've really fumbled. Raid Party is another example, although a new team building their product from the ground up, I'll give them a little bit more leeway. And again, in both instances, I'm a fan of teams having the wherewithal to recognize that their product is not ready. If it goes live, it is not going to go well. And, making the proper concessions to fix it before you can't take that back. Does it kind of suck for the bags that you're holding? And do you see the floor prices go down? Yes. But as we saw, everything kind of went down in the last little bit too. The other thing is, I think that this extended kind of drag might actually be bullish because as these things get accumulated, anybody buying right now is probably doing so with the intent of playing and finding a good entry point. So I do think that there's going to be some supply constrictions in regards to those projects. Now, to flip it around and Starcatchers moving up their reveal, I'm wondering why they're being met with the same anger. And I'm not trying to blindly stick up for the Starcatchers team. They're all great people. They're very competent. I love the art that they've got going on there. I love the community that they built. But I'm just wondering why all of a sudden delivering on a product sooner than later is now also FUD worthy. And if somebody can present to me the real bear case as to why they would want to reveal sooner, and that's a bad thing, like, please let me know. I'm genuinely trying to figure it out.
There is no real bear case here. People are jealous at both the success of this project, the hype that they've had, and the handsomeness and good looking of all the team members on there. And I'm not even kidding. People are just jealous. This team has everything, and that's all it is. It's just jealousy.
Yeah, JCV is saying
these aren't going. They're going up. They're going higher after reveal. These aren't going any lower. This is as good as you're getting. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there was that whole discussion of like everybody assumed that these were just going to moon like everything else does pre-reveal, and it hasn't. That's just that idea of like it can't always be this self-fulfilling prophecy. You speak it into existence. At the end of the day, you paid 0.11 for these, and they are sitting at a 600% or a 6 times multiple of what you paid for them. If you had the allow list spot, you've made at minimum, if you sold right now, unless you sold a little bit earlier, 1 ETH, $2,700.
Yeah.
In profit. That's incredible. If we were talking about this a month ago, 2 months ago, this would have been an absolute cook. Oh my God, Starcatchers minted at 0.11, 10K project, and it's 6x right now pre-reveal. Oh my God, amazing. Guys, this project's fucking killing it. It's going to the moon. And now we're like, ugh, Starcatchers, really? Only like we really have to do a better job of kind of reframing our perspective here. Turning $400 into $4,000 in a day or 2 or 3 or 4 is like the trade of a lifetime for people in traditional markets. And now this is FUD. I don't know. It's so bizarre to me. It's so strange.
It's just a bunch of smooth brain idiots who don't understand what's going on here. There's nothing. They are angry because of the last 3 weeks of what's been happening in the NFT market, and they're taking it out on the only team that's done it right. So, it really is just a factor of people getting angry about their own situations and taking it out on the only target they have, which is this elite project about to take the entire NFT world by storm. It's sad. Well, it's immaturity.
For a very short-term trading mindset, in a week, like you're watching Invisible Friends go to 10 ETH, you're watching some of these other projects go to 2 ETH pre-reveal, Azuki, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some of those projects like Azuki have done really well in the long term, but some of those projects like the Hate Beasts, like the Squiggles, like all of those other projects that, manufacture this enormous amount of hype, people get fucking wrecked on it. From a long-term perspective and holding perspective, I am very happy with where this is sitting right now. I'm excited to see it reveal. I don't feel any pressure or impetus to sell right now because I believe that in the long term, these are going to be way more valuable than they are right now. And I am completely fine with that. If these had ran up to 5 ETH, I would have sold because all of a sudden that hype is mimicking everything else that you see in this market, and it comes crashing down after Azuki being the exception. Three-lander's actually doing it pretty well right now too. But, it's all about just like managing your own expectations about what you have sometime. And I'm not faulting anybody for selling. If you want to sell here, you made a great profit. If you sold when it was 1 ETH very briefly upon launch, you made a great profit. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm just so surprised that this little stat line here, 10K, 5.3K owners, 0.62 floor price, and almost 4,000 ETH in volume traded in the last few days is now a disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that I don't really care if these fall to 0.2 after reveal. This is our opportunity. The fact that people can't see in front of their face and they're just letting their egos dictate how they act, it's an opportunity for. I don't want anyone in the DGen dojo to change. Their stupidity is my opportunity. I mean, this is exactly what you want. And I mean, I said for a long time, who is going to have the higher mint price 1 week after mint? And that was going to be Wonder Pals. And anybody, please let people continue to underestimate. This is why they don't get into things like doodles. This is why they don't get into things like MFers. It is our opportunity. Let them flounder. They continue to do it.
Samuel's asking, thinking about picking up a Starcatcher soon. If possible, do you think anything below 0.55 is a good entry? My personal situation, I would probably be buying below 0.55 right now. My original target was hoping that they dropped below 0.5 and I would be comfortable with kind of eating up some of my cost basis to make my position size bigger. It depends. If you have no exposure to them and you want exposure to them, I don't even think 0.6 is a terrible entrance spot, but you are playing that kind of reveal roulette. It's not typical for projects to rip after, although it is definitely doable. You just have to kind of internally think about what the odds are, look at all of the art, look at the team, and think, like, are these going to be a pleasant surprise upon reveal? Even better, because a lot of that expectation is already baked in too, right? It's kind of like the Coinbase earnings. If you think that it's going to crush expectations, then yeah, it's going to have a good run. If you think it's going to meet expectations, I don't know that it's going to go much lower, but maybe it doesn't immediately pump, right?
I've been saying since before Starcatchers minted, my buy range was 0.4 to 0.6. If I buy an NFT, not at stock, not an options, if I buy an NFT at 0.6 and it pulls back to 0.4, I don't even consider that a pullback. I'm not even watching it. I don't even care. Okay. The whatever between 0.4 and 0.6 is your buy zone. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know if it's going to go a little lower than here. I'm not psychic. This is where I like buying. I have bought more. I have more Starcatchers. I love Starcatchers.
Oh, you did end up picking up some.
I did end up picking more.
Oh, good.
I even paid a little higher than we have here, and I don't care. And I will pick up more stuff. I am trying to sell more things now. I hope there's more FUD. I hope they fall after reveal. I am buying more and more Starcatchers. Please continue to fade me. I'm looking forward to it.
We woke him up.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Come at me. Come at me, bro.
Love it. I was waiting for it. Speaking of invisible friends, we talked about the run that they're having. Bouncing back last time I saw, 90th floor. So a little bit higher than we were at yesterday. And it kind of seems like that over 8 ETH is baking in now. I actually forgot to check when the reveal is on this. Do you know?
No, I don't know. I don't follow this project. I don't know anything about this.
All right. Well, if someone can let me know what the reveal date holds for that. I thought it was in their Discord. I guess not.
Are we sure it's not just the reveal image?
This is it, eh? Yeah. Everyone just got one of these. 10K of these.
I don't know.
5K of these.
I don't know who this company started their own charity and then auctioned something off for charity. I don't know what this company is doing. I'm not sure if I even believe. Have I heard anything from Sotheby's about Invisible Friend? I'm not even sure what's going on here. I find this off-putting. I think one reason everyone's in such a bad mood are things like this. I think it's things like Weather Report. I think it's things like Squiggles. I think that this is all very bad juju. I hope these go to 0. Unless you're holding them, and then I hope they go to 100 ETH.
Only those specific.
Only in that specific.
Right. Yeah. All right. A couple other things. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put the Restream link on. See if anybody wants to come up in the Moon Lounge AM show chat. I haven't heard from Josh in a little while, but I see him brewing lots of coffee on Twitter.
Okay, good. As long as he's okay.
Yeah. Well, Josh, if you're out there, check in. FMC is saying, or Sam saying, it's either Starcatchers or nice mushroom lemon that was just listed. Well, you now you're talking his language.
People have been papering mushrooms. People have been papering golds, robot clouds. The cloud lemons. People have been papering cloud. Look, these are my two. These are my two highest conviction projects. I can't put it any other way. Lemons and Starcatchers. I'd sell everything else in my wallet before I got rid of those bags.
There you go. Yes, Cyber Frogz, a project that was brought up on the stream a couple times by the chat, actually revealed. So I figured I would just weigh in and throw them out there. Not bad little pixel art. I mean, if I had to just say one thing, is maybe they're sitting a little low on the square there, and it's going to kind of limit the PFP-ableness.
And they're hard to tell apart. Like if I saw 50 of these in a room, I wouldn't know who was. I know they're differentiated. I know I see the different colors. I would know talking most of the time. It'd be like two. You know what I mean? When even it's too similar, even if the colors are different, type of thing.
Yeah. The backgrounds are nice, though.
I really do love them.
They look cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, they're sitting at 0.1. I'll refresh, see where they're at right now, but at 0.1 ETH floor, yeah, just slightly below there. So, I mean, at this point, they're out there, they're in the open, they're minted, they're revealed. You just got to assess whether or not you think this is a long-term play, and if there's any validity into what the team is doing, what they're building, or even not building, as we see with like the MFers and whatnot. So, but yeah, like cool little pixel art here. I actually really like the backgrounds. I'm not always super fond of like generative art having like detailed backgrounds that can conflict sometimes with the underlying asset, or not the underlying asset, the main profile, I should say.
Mhm.
But yeah, interesting project. So I appreciate when people bring stuff up like this. The animation on the other ones were really good too, though. I don't know if there was maybe those are some of the rare ones. Normally I check the highest last sale on this. I didn't do it with that. So this one looks kind of good.
Yeah. No, I like the way they look, but I don't know anything about the project. Crypto Monster Lab. Yeah.
Yes.
I love Crypto Monster Lab, Shaolin. I did mint some, and here's my thing. This reminds me very much of a project like Ray Ray's. I talk about a few projects like that, Creature Toads and Breakfast Sandwiches. Breakfast Sandwich is a good comparison too, because I don't expect this to mint out quickly. I also don't expect this creator and artist to go anywhere. And that's why I love this project. Whether the market understands it early or not, these are the type of gems that FMC buys, he keeps, he continues to support. And I know eventually these are going to come through. Going to mint out fast? No. Is it going to be this week? I don't know. But at the same time, I understand what this artist is doing. I really love the originality of his art. I actually think the gamification here is fun. And I know he's not going anywhere. This guy's just going to work. I mean, he's doing this because he loves to do this. So yeah, I'm very much in support of this project. If you're looking at it from a trading standpoint, there's probably better trades out there.
Yeah, I mean, this art style, I think at first glance isn't for everybody, but it doesn't have to be. This is a very classic style of art. You see it a lot in like children's books and stuff like that, and he's kind of putting his own spin on it. I do have to say though, when you do a little deep dive on it and look closely at what's come out of it, it is actually like quality though. So there's time and effort and care put into this, and the what I've seen from it, the traits look really good. The ideas behind it look really good. There's some originality in terms of the being able to kind of monster mash them together, and they steal kind of traits for each other and create new ones. It also creates a supply burn dynamic too, right? So like you said, maybe this doesn't mint out right away. Maybe it's not a moonshot right away or anything like that, but it's done by somebody who obviously gives a shit about their art and their craft. They're trying to do something new and original, or at least different than most. And yeah, here we are. So I believe their public sale is going live today. So if you are on the allow list, you probably have a couple more hours to kind of finish that off and mint them if you want. They are a little bit cheaper for the allow list.
And Santiago, he is thinking about licensing. He is thinking about a comic book, and he is thinking about, Hollywood. Like this is the type of project where you're like, well, what's it doing? What's the roadmap? Where is it going to go? Then one day you're going to find out that he signed with WME, and this is coming out on the Disney Channel as some new, children's. And all of a sudden these things. That's what's going to happen. And it's only because I know Santiago and what type of artist he is and how passionate he is about his project. So I'm bullish on it. But hey, I'm bullish on a lot of things that aren't going to be an instant cook. So again, if you're approaching this from a trader's standpoint, there may be better trades out there. I love Crypto Monster Lab. I'm bullish on it. And I just think it's a matter of time, but it's hard to time. So looking forward to, I think I'm even minting more, to be honest. I want to get a bunch of these. So yeah, period.
Dope. What else? What else do you want to talk about? Loser Club has some mint details out there. Loser Club is obviously the artist is Jay Vaughn. Some issues going down with a Fishy Fam that I believe have been kind of resolved on their end. He's got his own project. It is not a Fishy Fam derivative or a copy of their art. He has his own unique art style, and they look good. And he's got a really great community kind of brewing around that as well. Great branding. I mean, they're doing some really nice stuff there. 0.088 mint price. 10,000 of them. And like I said, the loser list, which they have is the allow list, goes on Friday, March 4th. So next Friday at 9 p.m. UTC. I got to like ingrain in my mind what the conversion on UTC to EST is. Public sale will start 24 hours after the fact, and then they are doing a reveal party on Twitter Spaces. I also love that teams are starting to do this too. It's very important to be out there, be present, let people approach you about what you just minted, talk about it, rave about it, ask questions. You know, the community building process really does start after that mint and then after the reveal. And you know, these guys are look like they're handling it properly. Starcatchers is doing the same thing with their reveal. I believe they're having a Tropics party. Shout out. And so that's going to be really fun. But yeah, look to see what teams do after their mint and the reveal too, right? Because this is a pivotal time where awareness and people wanting to talk and share what they've just bought and what they revealed and all of that stuff is definitely at its height, and that can really go a long way into solidifying a community. Honestly, I know from personal experience being like in the restaurant industry and stuff like that, like giving people FaceTime, giving people access to talk to you, ask questions about you, tell you about stuff. It really does create strong, like lifelong customers, I guess, if you want to call them that, but community members is really what I'm getting at.
Yeah. What's unique about Losers Club, and shout out to Javon, Lovesley, Kylie, Invisible Girl, Cave Guy, the whole team over there is amazing. But they are one of the few projects that's managed to create a community before mint that isn't just focused on getting rich. Okay, they hold weekly spaces. The Discord is a vibe, and holy shit, is Javon a vibe. I have now had the pleasure of being on many spaces with Javon in which he either is rap battling, live drawing on Twitch, playing video games with everyone, or just politicking and philosophizing with the best of them. I mean, the guy is a brand. His art is absolutely next level. So looking forward to Losers Club. We now have a hard mint date. Every Thursday at 9 p.m. they hold a losers table hosted by Lobesy, which is such a nice community spaces. They're already doing a weekly one. So bullish on Losers Club. We partner with them with the DGen Dojo to get allow list spots for the
Losers. Right. Yeah. How many did we end up snagging for them?
Yep, absolutely. And man, this is a great project. I don't even think about the controversy you had mentioned. You know, his art is so next level, so original. I always talk about art that has soul, has that it factor, and, you know, this is it right here. He's done so many cool 101s and collabs.
This is so good, this Cool Cat one.
Man, the guy, like, he is always drawing or rapping. And when he's not drawing or rapping, he's taking care of his wife and daughter. I mean, the guy is just incredible. So, again, shout out to Javon, and looking forward. Loser Club, March 4th. Let's go.
Zopal's asking a good question here. I saw a couple of people mention Howlerz. I have that pulled up as well. Zopal asking the question of, can people start potentially... Oh, wait. Here we go. OpenSea migration coming up soon. What do you think happens to some floors if things weren't migrated properly? Can people potentially relisting at what the new floor is established at with all migrated listings? I think by and large, this is going to go fine. I think that it's going to shore up a lot of the listings that have been kind of set and forget, you know, for some older projects. A lot of times people don't set the timelines very well, or they forget, and then you don't bother canceling it. I think 6 months is the default one, or it was at least for a while there. So I think you're going to see some of the floors maybe get a little bit thinner. I don't know what you mean in terms of if things weren't migrated properly. I got to believe that it's probably going to go down pretty smoothly. But I am talking about OpenSea here, so there's always an element of surprise involved.
Well, what could happen here is that people who haven't migrated their listings, those listings get canceled, and it raises floors because it's essentially delisting. I mean, the thing could be a bunch of listings.
Or at least makes them thinner.
Right. Yeah. Or at least make the floors thinner. People could see that in a response, maybe list higher. Who knows? It could work. I mean, it's always, you know, doesn't OpenSea rugging a collection cause it to go down, even if the underlying collection fundamentals are still bullish and stuff like that. Why couldn't something mechanic accidentally start a bull run for no reason after we've just had peak panic? Remember, it's all about multiple variables and that, everything coming together to make something happen. And that's what you can see. Let's say we do get some tensions easing this weekend. Let's say we do get that really, really big rally into Monday. We're setting the stage for that type of thing to be bullish, for the listing thing to fuel on the fire if necessary. A lot of ifs, but sure, I can see what you're saying, Zopal. It could definitely, definitely do that. For sure. Or people would just I don't know. We'll see. It's a good thing. I did want to shout out Ella and Swampverse because we had known about this from the beginning, but Swampverse is also introducing a burning mechanism where you can burn 2 of your frogs to get a swamp creature. You got to burn 400 croak coins as well. This is a project that had Augmented Labs. Shout out to Dots on the dev side. They got Gary V on the shill side. And in between, they got a really cool project with great art. And this was one of them that it was actually launching towards the end of the bear market. We were still in the bear market, but the Littles and Swampverse were 2 of the higher.
So hyped.
Yeah.
I remember Swampverse going down. People were amped about this project. And doing well still too. I mean, 0.378, 0.38, almost 0.4. Nothing.
No complaints there.
Nothing upsetting about that. And if they're burning supply and the Croaks coins with it, I got to think it's pretty bullish. They've held this floor for that long.
Definitely. And when both of these projects minted, they saw very nice cooks afterwards and then cooled off. But they were so hype. They did have a moment. And I think what was interesting about both the Littles and Swampverse, these went up after reveal. There were no post-reveal.
Right, yeah.
But people always ask, why do people hold the reveal? There's 2 reasons. One, it's the lottery. But 2, you see these things happen once in a while. And your brain goes, well, man, I really like this project. Like, what if it is the one that does go up after reveal? Mm-hmm. It does. Things like Swampverse and the Little did it. Every once in a while, Azuki did it. Every once in a while, you get a project that just does it, right?
Alien friends.
And it was a factor of, I thought the floors looked great. People were looking at these, the Swampverse floors, and they were like, man, these look really good. I think that helped with the post-type pump. They went through a quiet period. People didn't talk about them a lot, and now they got some juju again. So shout out to Ella. Hope that floor goes up for you, and let's see how the burning affects this ecosystem here. I actually have some croak coins that I collected right before I sold both my swampies, but I still have some croak coins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through the activity too, and one of the nice things you see are actually sales above floor as well, right?
Yeah,
like you're getting people going through and buying some that they like or they think are going to have some, important rarities or some whatnot. You're getting some around 0.5 there. I'm seeing some above 1 ETH, and that's always a really encouraging sign. Some pretty real volume on a project that's been around for a long time too. Anytime you can sell a couple hundred a day after being out for months, nothing wrong with that. Pretty bullish sign, and definitely some eyes on that still. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Howlerz. Interesting stuff. This project popped up on Twitter. The art style is interesting to say the least. My first reaction was not great. But the more I looked at it and the more previews and stuff that they've put out, the more I'm kind of digging it. It's unique. It's bizarre. And I could definitely see why it resonates with some people. It's not like it's so strange because at first your initial reaction is this is like just low effort, ludicrous, like just like something that was thrown together. I actually don't think that that's going to be the case. I like looking through some of these previews. They had a preview or a collaborative one done by Croaks, which looks really good. It's strange, and I'm kind of understanding why people are getting excited for it. There's no Discord. There's no website yet. It solely exists on Twitter. The mint is going down at some point today, and you are only going to find that out through Twitter. he has stated that there are some fake contracts out there. Do not mint from them. But yeah, you will know at some point today when these go live. There's no allow list. It is just going out there, and whatever happens, happens. 25,000 followers on Twitter, and yeah, some real hype behind it.
Delicious looking wolf there, that donut wolf. Yeah, these look great. I think this is smart. Okay,
it's because fun, right?
But most people just copy whatever the successful model is at the time, right? So every project coming out now has a similar launch dynamic, similar whitelist dynamic, similar mint price, similar this, similar that. These guys are like, no Discord, stealth mint, crazy art. We don't know what we're about. Boom. These are your cooks. This is what you look for. I love this art. I love these. Don't know if I'll have a chance to get any, given it's stealth. We don't know what time. It'll be a gas oil. All that good stuff. But yeah, they look fucking great. Anyone who wins that war is probably gonna have a nice little cook tomorrow.
And like according to the artist on Twitter there, this is actually like this one here is a generative one too. So if this is generative, there's a lot of variation that can go down with these.
Faboosh, baby, faboosh.
This was done by the Dead Friends artist. Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, it bought. It's just it's good stuff. It popped up a couple days ago, and my first reaction was to like be dismissive about it, and definitely changed my mind on it.
Like, I see world-class art like this, and I am just perplexed that anyone would mint any other project. Like, I mean the low-effort projects. Like, how do you mint some of these low-effort things when you got Howlerz? Because we didn't know Howlerz was coming around, and we don't know what's coming around next. I mean, there's always, like, I love looking good, man.
Yeah, cool. Do we know the supply?
No.
I don't know that we know anything about it. That's kind of the fun of it too, right?
That Croaks one looks great.
Yeah. Just reading. I don't see any supply numbers there.
My orcs yesterday brought me back 60 bone shards. One shot. I was able to mint a surprise ogre I got yesterday.
Is that right? There you go.
Yeah, minted an ogre.
I know there's some holes in your wall when it brings back too, so now you can use that money to patch them up.
Well, that's the thing. I already bridged him to Polygon and have him making training dummies. So
there you go.
Unfortunately, I can't sell it, though. I'm wondering now, because I only thought I was going to get 4 ogres. Now I have probably going to get 5. There's even a Hail Mary chance I could get 6. I'm wondering if I either stop raiding right now, and then, or not stop raiding, but stop using the bone shards to mint ogres. I just start stacking them, and then I hit the mages really hard when they debut in a week or two after ogres mint out. Maybe some of the experts can hit me up with what they're thinking out there.
Noah from Christie's supposedly linked to Howlerz. I don't know who Noah is.
Some of our Ether Orcs experts love to hide their strategies, which is real nice in our community-based Discord. Max Min, Profit Maxis, I love them so much.
Somebody's saying Howlerz is believed to be a 5,000 supply. I'm going to take your word for it. I haven't seen anything. I also don't know who Noah from Christie's is, but it sounds like something. 5 JCV saying 5.3 thousand unique holders for Starcatchers. It can only get better. You love to see low mint counts. Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about it a couple of times in previous shows about creating the dilemma, right? When the average person owns one of these, and I would say the average person probably does own one of them right now, because I know that there's people who have been loading up on them on the secondary, so you create that kind of disparity. Yeah, I mean, sell or hold. Do you want to miss out on this? Potentially being the next Doodles or the next Cool Mans or the next Cool Cats or whatever, selling one and you're out. Why would you sell one here to try and rebuy later? I don't know. That's a risky proposition. This is not a good point to sell if you're trying to get in at a lower price. I wouldn't be swing trading anything to do with this right now.
Nope.
If it ran up to 2 ETH, I mean, fair game.
Swing it right out the window.
Yeah. But I mean, it is the real bull case for stuff like this, right? Once you cross that, 50-50 threshold, the dynamics of everything changes, right? Especially when you know that I'm sure there are, people that were able to mint more of these with like tons of alt wallets and stuff like that. But the average person got on once, they minted 2, and based on the holder count increasing, they have exited. And you watch the whale watching stuff like we have in the dojo. Just with the wallets that we have connected, people are loading up on these, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the ones we know about. There are definitely people that have 20 or 30 or 40 of these, maybe more. Actually, you can check that on Etherscan. I'm not going to, but you can check that.
No, you.
No, you. Me?
Yeah. I got another orc that just got back from raiding. Let's see what he brought, Daddy.
Fud Farm's ripping? Are you Chase always fucks with me, man.
Yo, he looks through your hidden and he picks a new project every day to tell you
he goes bear market bears. He has a list. He's like Charlie from Always Sunny with that corkboard, linking things back to me and then trolling me in the in the chat.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I'm onto him. I'm not even falling for it. I'm gonna look anyways. Fuck it, I'm falling for it. It used to be bear market bears he used to troll me with. Every time he said that, Scott ran to his hidden folder and checked.
What a terrible project and time.
Bear market bears?
Yeah.
They kicked off the bear market, that's for sure.
No, they didn't. They launched in the middle of a bull market. It was still a bull market for weeks.
Was it?
Yeah. That was that was a complete self goal. Own goal. Sorry, own goal. Isn't that what it's own goal?
Yeah.
In the hockey, own goal.
Someone in AM with 52 Starcatchers. Wow. I'm not going to ask you who that is because we don't do that, but it does not surprise me in the least.
Yeah, I know. Y'all watch what
I love you too, Chase. Wait, Vikings and Villagers is ripping? Are we just doing this thing where everybody just starts saying random shit is ripping?
I love those. The Northern Guild? Do you still have those Northern Guild Vikings? I just remembered those.
I never had them.
Northern Guild.
Yeah, I remember that.
At Northern Guilds. Guilds of Thor. Let's see where they are. That one, we're going to wake up one day this year, and Northern Guild's going to be like going to 1 ETH. Remember how hype those were?
Yeah.
They were the first ones to be like, oh, game 6 months away. Now after Pixelmon and shit like that, that's nothing.
0.03 floor on those right now.
Ooh, sweepy.
Not a bad little upside bet. I liked how they all had like unique names and stuff like that. You don't see that very often. Like
Fruitcag the Naughty. Do you know Fruitcag the Naughty?
No.
Or Fruitcag the Knot. That is who I am in the Orc Discord. Fruitcag the Knot.
Oh. Why? I'm so sorry to hear that. Breakfast Club is you guys. Come on.
What are you even reading?
The chat, man.
Whose chat? I'm looking at the chat on the site. It's not even moving. All right. It's moving now.
Breakfast Club ripping. I don't believe it.
Yes, thank you, Ella.
Although I saw the mugs. They look pretty good.
My address too while you're at it. I'm just kidding, Ella.
Egyptian and Welsh. Is that true?
Yeah, there's 2 others in there too. She's mentioning half of me. I'm a mutt. I've got 4 different.
You said, was it Lebanese?
Yep.
Okay.
There's another
one. Breakfast World's not ripping, you goddamn liars. I don't know. I don't know what the other one is.
That would be Swiss.
Swiss. Ooh, I wouldn't have actually guessed that one.
Wait.
That's quite the combination.
I know the ladies have always said so. Thank you.
I don't even really know like what I am. It's mostly like British.
All right, isn't it?
In it.
Hard to believe.
Bing bong. What's up, Tropics? Tropics is ripping a set tonight. Yeah, you are. What's that?
I said hard to believe you were British with that attempt at speaking your mother tongue.
Yeah. What's it?
Oh boy.
We need Cass up here to keep us in line.
I know.
Yeah.
Nadia.
I don't dare drop the accents when Cass is up here.
Hmm.
Cool. Well, I don't think we're gonna have any visitors today, so that's all right. Anything else you want to talk about? We're about to hit 2 hours and probably start to wrap it up here, I think.
I would like to talk about cheese puffs.
Okay. Go on.
Never mind.
Bullish or bearish?
Bullish.
Bullish on cheese puffs?
Bullish on cheese puffs.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Turtletown minted today. Forgot about that.
Turtletown?
I don't know.
Cool.
Somebody mentioned Turtletown. Good secondary, I guess.
Like turtles, that could be your project.
A whole town of turtles just minted.
That could be.
Can't find an OpenSea link. We'll talk about it. Or maybe I'll bring it up. Keep an eye on it. See what's what. Guys, it's going to be an exciting weekend. I'm really, really pumped for the Starcatchers reveal today. I'm pumped at the very least to see how Weather Report goes down, because at least there's going to be something to talk about there. Wonder Pals is going to be hopefully minting tomorrow. It looks like their mint day was the 26th. That's going to be really fun to watch. You got a allow list on that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. I have
only mint one.
Yeah. I have all the good ones. None of the bad ones, but all the good ones.
Am I pumped for the party even though it's delayed? I'm always pumped for a party, man. We'll take tequila shots at 11:30 in the morning. Whatever.
I know. Let's go. Tropics. Hit us with that link in the DGen dojo. We're all gonna come party with you. I'll simulcast it on the Lemons spaces if you want.
Ella, Starcatchers reveal looks like it's at midnight tonight.
Would that be PST, my friend? Because I know they're all on the West Coast. I don't know if they mean
Eastern.
Okay.
It's adjusted to my time zone, so Eastern.
I love that. Could we make that universal across all Discord?
What, setting the time local?
Like
to
you type a time in there and it just shows up.
Yeah, there's a function that you can do that. Where, yeah. But everybody should use it. I don't know what UTC is. Why do people keep saying UTC? What does that even mean?
England.
I thought that was GMT. Time. I thought that was Greenwich Mean Time.
Yeah. UTC is like the world reference. I think it's the one they teach everyone to pay attention.
Oh, universal time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I think it is. I think it is also GMs. I think it's the same time.
Is it? Yeah. I'm gonna have to do some research, deep dive into this, and we're gonna have a whole segment on Monday's show.
Anyone living in UTC? Is it? I don't know what time. Never mind.
UTC is Australia?
What?
No. Cass is saying it's GM. Okay, same time, same as GMT. Okay, so like for Eastern, I think it's -6. I literally have Google. Why don't I just Google this?
All right. Well,
oh God, Google UTC to EST. 5 hours. Oh, that's easy. It's easy enough. Anyways, Starcatchers reveal midnight Eastern tonight, 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. UTC, I guess. Cool. All right, man. Well, thank you for everybody that showed up today. Friday edition, always a good time. We're going to be taking the weekend off of doing the shows, but of course, we will be back on Monday at 9:30 Eastern to do a little bit of a weekend recap. We talked about Weather Report. We talked about Starcatchers. Touched on Invisible Friends a little bit today. We talked about potential scenarios for Ape token. Did a little bit of news with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. A very unfortunate situation right now, and we hope everybody is staying safe, especially if you or your family are affected by that. Of course, the whole show is recorded for YouTube and Spotify. If you missed anything, make sure to tune in and check it out. And every once in a while, I do like to ask, if you haven't liked this episode or subscribed to us yet, it does actually help us out quite a bit. But if you don't, I will not lose any sleep over it, I promise. Yeah. We'll see you on Monday. Free market. Get us out of here.
Peace and love, WGMI.